Welcome to Out of the Mouth of Babes, the podcast for our future leaders. Today we have a very special guest in the house, Mr. Ron Itnyre. Ron, as you know, is running for the Democrat City Council at large. But before I turn it over to Ron, I'm going to have the two students that are here with us introduce themselves, what they're interested in, what grade they're in, and then we're going to turn it over to Ron. So starting with you.
My name's Meadow Bain. I'm a 12th grader at Richmond High School. I'm interested in all sorts of art and just creating anything that comes to mind, really.
My name is Yuvraj Prajapati. I go to the Richmond High School. I'm in 10th grade, and my interests are like music and making music.
All right. Now, Mr. Ron, tell us a little bit about you and your background, where you're from, all of the above.
My name is Dr. Ron Itnyre, but please call me Ron. I was raised on a farm in Illinois, went to the University of Illinois, and ended up getting a degree in genetics and then a degree in plant pathology, so dead plants. As a kind of aside, my mother-in-law asked, so what's wrong with this plant? And it's, well, it's sick. It's like, well, what should I do for it? And I'm like, just get a new one. My wife and I moved here in 1999 when she got a job at Indiana University East. I worked in the industry for seed corn industry for 10 years before I moved to teaching at Indiana University East, where I teach biology, introductory biology, microbiology, things along those lines. Have been very active in the community. We raised our daughter here. She graduated from Richmond High School in 2020 as part of the unfortunate COVID class that lost their graduation to COVID. She's currently a junior at Indiana University in Bloomington, studying environmental science, and we're so very proud of her and the accomplishments that she's was able to do here, going through the Richmond Community Schools and graduating from the high school. Been involved in the general community, Richmond Civic Theater. I've lost track of how many shows I've been involved with, and also have served on several community boards. Currently, I'm on the Street Tree Commission. I've served as the president of that board for several times. Been on there since 2005, and I'm also on the County Solid Waste Recycle Board. Has served as the chair of that as well. So kind of fits into that passion that I have for the environment. So.
All righty. Well, we're going to turn it over to the students, and please start asking questions. Make sure you guys are close up on the mic.
So, what specific plans do you have to address affordable housing in our city?
Affordable housing. One of the things that I would like to kind of follow along with the mayor is working on a plan to bring back what was known as the Human Rights Commission, to be able to address and be able to work with community members to address the issues that they're having in their housing. It would be nice, and I haven't figured out the exact way of addressing this per se, but if an individual is able to buy a house that's in a moderately dilapidated condition that could be working with repairs, if they put the money into the repairs, what would happen, unfortunately, is the value of the house would go up, their taxes would go up, and they probably couldn't afford to stay there. If there would be a tax holiday, a property tax holiday that would allow them to keep investing in repairing that house, rebuilding the house, to making it livable for them, that would be a way of encouraging home ownership as in an affordable setting. And that is a very, very, how shall I say, challenging issue that it wouldn't take just one council member. It would have to be, the entire group that would have to be working on that.
Yeah.
What initiatives or policies would you prioritize to address homelessness in our city?
Again, kind of a continuing on with that question is working to have affordable housing, so that there would be the options for individuals that don't have the financial means to afford more expensive housing. Realistically, there might be some zoning issues that could be done from the city level, but a lot of this is independent financial institutions, businesses that would be running those situations. But making the opportunities available for as many people as possible would be one of the things that I would encourage.
So, how will you work towards improving access to healthcare services for all residents, especially those in more marginalized communities?
Another very good question. Again, thinking about it from the standpoint of the city council, there wouldn't be a lot that would be able to be done within that. The main job of the city council is to address budgets within. The mayor puts together a budget, city council approves or votes against it, may be able to make some changes to it. The benefit that Richmond has is the state has put together an initiative that is putting a lot of money into the Wayne County Health Department. So expanding medical options and medical opportunities for individuals to get some of the health care that they really desperately need. And I know there are so many individuals that just don't have the available health care that they so justly need. Again, probably in the role as a city council, it would be more of advocating for more of those opportunities for as many individuals, many of the residents of Richmond and Wayne County as possible.
Can you explain your stance on promoting diversity, inclusion, and equality within our community?
I am a strong proponent of diversity. I actually just came from an interfaith gathering out at First Friends meeting this afternoon. That's where I was just immediately before this. As they mentioned at this, there are probably there was a video that was shown, and there were individuals from at least 38 nations were involved with that. Richmond, and that one of the presenters said there are probably 38 nations represented in Richmond, and that diversity should be and is a strength of this community. And so I would do anything that I possibly could to help recognize that, honor it, expand it as best as I could in a role as a city council member.
So, could you explain your strategy or plans for improving the education and providing equal opportunities for all students?
One of the things, again, city council doesn't really have anything to do with what's going on in the school district. In my recent past, I actually ran for Richmond's Community School Board, was first runner-up. Education is such a crucial part of the future of the city. So more, again, as a role as an advocate to improve as best we can public education in the city of Richmond is vital for the economic and diversity issue for the entire city. So there wouldn't be anything directly within the realm of what a city council member would be doing, but you could be sure that I would be a strong advocate for that.
How do you plan to engage with the youth population and involve them in more in decision-making processes that affect their future?
I am amazed and I'm pleased to find out about this podcast. It's important for our future for individuals and finding out about individuals like yourselves that are doing these kind of podcasts. So I would actually come back to you and say, when can I meet with you? Where can we do to get you more involved? One thing I did think, and it was in there, is have internships. I would encourage the city administration to have internships for what does a mayor do? What does a city council member do? Invite you to meetings and participate in one of the positions that the Richmond City Council is involved is with Richmond Power and Light. Were you aware of that? That the Richmond Power and Light board is actually the city council because we have a public utility here. It is a a wonderful asset that the city of Richmond has to have its own electric utility. I've lived here for 24 years, and I believe I've lost power maybe 4 times in that amount of time. I think it is the dedication of the city, of the employees at Richmond Power and Light, with the guidance of the city council boards, because they're reporting directly to the people. I'd take you on tours of things like that. Take students on tours of the sewer treatment plant. Take you on tours of the Richmond sanitary landfill to say, here's one of the strengths. We don't have our trash being shipped off. We're working.
I've been to all 4 of those.
Oh, you have been to all 4 of those. Outstanding. I have quite a few of my college students that don't know where they are, so I appreciate you haven't been there. So, getting students involved as best I can, and through groups like yours.
So this kind of goes along with that. How do we keep our youth involved in a way that makes them realize their role in building the community?
Again, you're playing a part of it right here. My daughter was involved in a variety of things. We encouraged her to participate in various things. You mentioned being involved in interest in the arts. It's one of the strengths of Richmond. So trying to encourage that participation anywhere that I possibly could, I think would be, I would try to do that. I do it with my students at the university, and so would continue doing that with younger groups of students, it sounds like, that are interested. That's nice.
How do you think that we can encourage our young talent to stay local once they graduate high school or their secondary education?
By providing opportunities here. We need to have economic opportunities. We need to have, as the first set of questions that you came up with, housing opportunities. There needs to be a vibrant life for them here to encourage them to either stay for college here or coming back after they have gone to college somewhere else. So it's providing those opportunities are going to be a key part of that.
How do we provide affordable, respectable housing for our citizens of lesser resources, and how does your vision differ from past low-income housing models?
There needs to be, and it's on the books. We have the Human Rights Commission is on the books as being the place where people who are having difficulties with their housing. That's one of the main groups that went through that. It was defunded, I can't remember how many years ago. So it's on the books. It's supposed to be available, but there has not been any funding for it. I would be an advocate for reinstating that in some shape or form so that issues can be addressed. There are wonderful landlords out there. There are wonderful tenants out there. There are some on both sides who are either damaging the property if they're the tenant, or they're not providing adequate resources. I've heard, unfortunately, horror stories of places where they didn't have a front door, or they had holes in the floor, and that is unacceptable. So having those things straightened out needs to be part of what the job of enforcement within the city needs to be.
So how will you support local businesses and encourage economic growth in our community?
I would support economic initiatives that would, one of the things, and I spoke with a business, he was talking about how difficult it was for parking, that he was having issue, especially during the construction. So targeted construction, if it's city controlled, as I talked a bit before we got on the air, a lot of the construction that's going on lately has been state run, both 9th Street, 8th Street. Before that it was US 40, South A, North A, and now the bridge. Those are all state projects. One of the things we could do within is are there areas where we could improve parking for the local businesses, improve opportunities to bring more people downtown in particular? That's the area that it has been getting a lot of focus in terms of businesses that are seeking support. It's not the only place in town. I mean, there are other places around town where we need to still be able to address what's going on. Support innovation. One of the things, unfortunately, downtown has quite a few buildings that have out-of-state landlords who do not have any businesses. I mean, I've going down the street and going, oh, here's a storefront that doesn't have anything in it, here doesn't have anything. And there are some innovative ways. I've heard that Rushville has an interesting enforcement program to encourage business owners to either have something in there or move on, so that there could be something put into there. We don't necessarily want to be just a tax write-off for somebody in another state with an empty building here. So some of the businesses would benefit by having every storefront full, which would then encourage people to come downtown, which would then, nice mix of, support of the industry or support of the businesses with what's going on in terms of the shoppers and so forth. Also, with the opening of the rooms above the secret ingredient, there are some nice apartments that are up there. There is a long-term vision of getting housing in this area so that there are clients, oh, I want to get a bagel. I can go downstairs and get a bagel. But then, so it's kind of the chicken or the egg thing. Do the businesses attract the patrons, or do you have to have enough patrons to attract the business? And it's probably a mix of both.
What steps will you take to promote sustainable and environmentally friendly practices within our city?
Now you're hitting on a topic that's especially close to my heart. I have been an environmentalist my entire life. I was raised in a farm where we recycled pretty much everything. I used to walk the road picking up all the aluminum cans that people would throw out along the road. I have been, like I said, on the solid. I went in and talked to Mayor Snow back in 2017 about sustainability in association with the sustainability with the city, and he's like, "Well, would you like to be my representative on the local recycle board?" And I said, "Sure, yes." So I've been on that since then, working to educate about recycling and more opportunities. By the way, there is an e-waste collection this Thursday at noon at Seton High School parking lot. So if you have some electronic waste you want to get rid of this November 9th, you can go to the Seton High School parking lot to get rid of that. One of the things I'm very proud about the city council that's currently in office is they passed a climate action plan for the city of Richmond last fall. Within my role as around city council, I would use that as a focus for pretty much every decision that was going on. Is the budget fitting within what to make the city more sustainable, encouraging residents to be more sustainable? Is it going to improve the environment? Encourage planting of trees, working to get grants that would do those kind of things. The Richmond Sanitary District is currently working on 2 grants that would improve recycling in Richmond. So, yeah, you hit on a passion area.
What measures will you implement to ensure the safety of our neighborhoods and reduce crime rates?
I would make sure, and working within that with the budget, is to make sure that our police department is fully funded and fully trained. I've heard, Mayor Snow proudly say, there have been several incidents where if the police officers who were interacting with the members of the community that were having the issues, it could have escalated, and they had the proper training to handle the situation and de-escalate the situation. Also, one of my fellow candidates, Carl Reinhardt, is a really big advocate, and I'm picking up on this as working to improve the neighborhood associations, so that the neighborhood associations can work to build a sense of community back into the different neighborhoods. And a lot of the community issues are neighbors kind of not caring about what's going on with their neighbors. And they're injuring their neighbors or just creating an atmosphere where it's not good. Whereas, I mean, I came from a tiny town, and if I'd actually done anything, my parents would have found out before I got home. And I would, it was a bit of a deterrent, and it was also, not that I was a troublemaker, but it was, it builds a sense of community that I think helps take away a lot of issues that then the police don't even need to be called in, and provide some security and, a better sense of, how should I say, safety.
Do you have any specific goals that you'd like to share with us now?
Like I said, would love to have the environment be a focus of every decision that we're making. Could within the budget, what can we do that would make Richmond more sustainable? It is an attractive feature that would bring people to here. We are a tree city. Some people, that is a draw for some individuals. Having it be and we've been working on this as being a bike-friendly town with the Cardinal Greenway, the Gorge Trail, things along those lines. All of these things would make Richmond that would make it an attractive place for people to come to as well as businesses to come to.
What made you want to run for your position?
Like I said, I've been here for 24 years. I have been involved in the Street Tree Commission, been involved in the Solid Waste Recycle District, been involved in Richmond Civic Theater. Just there's so much to love about Richmond Symphony Orchestra, all of these things. And my parents have been, how shall I say, my parents, my dad was a trustee in a small township in Illinois. My mother was a supervisor for the township in Illinois. And I've always felt a sense of service. And I'm really thinking this just as an extension of my service to this adopted city of Richmond. So that's kind of at heart why I'm doing this.
Well, Ron, we got 2 more questions for you.
Oh.
And then I'm going to give you an opportunity to kind of give your final elevator speech or outro.
Will you build off of the previous mayor's work, or will you want to start something new to catch up on something that they didn't?
I'm a person that does best at adapting things. So taking a project, looking at it potentially with a fresh set of eyes. So the simple answer is yes, I would work with what the mayor has adapted and where we would be going forward. But again, with that focus on the environment.
What do you think makes Richmond to someone who doesn't reside here unappealing?
The thing that probably is the most unappealing are the blighted houses. As you're driving down various neighborhoods, you see houses that are in various stages of disrepair. That probably is one of the more unappealing things about it. And it would be, I'm appreciating the focus that that Mayor Snow and the administration has taken over the last 8 years of trying to get rid of properties. I think there are some things that we could do, both continuing on that of removing blighted properties, but also rehabilitating some of these properties. We actually I met an individual at the 4th Street Fair who bought 2 houses in town. They moved from California, so they could buy 2 houses. They're rehabilitating one to live in and one to rent. And that's better than tearing either of them down. So I think there are opportunities that we could encourage more of that kind of redevelopment to get rid of some of those eyesore properties.
All right, Ron, it's on you. Anything you want to share with the listeners as we approach election on Tuesday?
Yes, election is on Tuesday. Well, I just appreciate this opportunity to answer the questions and see what our future can hold. That's an outstanding thing. I've always, like I said, been an advocate. I'm an educator myself. I see that it was really the future. I ran or I have chosen to run on three basic legs of my platform. E for the environment. I've kind of harped on that a bit here. To have a quality environment, to improve the environment so that living conditions can be better here in Richmond. Infrastructure. We need to have a solid infrastructure. We're having construction fatigue, I know, but having having a solid infrastructure for people and businesses to work within is crucial, and then opportunities for all. It's providing opportunities for all Richmond residents in a variety of different ways. You mentioned housing as being a crucial one. It was importance to you for in terms of asking the questions on that. That's one of those components of it. And I guess on the simple part, would appreciate your vote on November 7th.
All righty. Well, Ron, it has been a pleasure to learn a little bit more about you. I got a lot of other questions and a different time. Thank you for coming out on this Sunday evening and joining the podcast for our future leaders. Out of the mouth of babes. Thank you. We appreciate you, and I'm sure we will all get together at some point because you got some wonderful things you wanted to share with us. So thanks again.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.